I'll probably leave actually at 4:30, but yeah, we got plenty of time. That's
well.
we should.
If you leave at 4:30 and it's just me, this is going to say. For those that we just started the broadcast, Jimmy, you need to tweet that out and tag me. But you know what I'm noticing? Like as I'm seeing myself on camera, my whole bottom teeth are misaligned, or I'm going to have to need an Invisalign or some shit, I guess. Anyway, you texted me. I think you accidentally texted me something. You said on the radio, can't talk. I was like, well, it's going to make this podcast suck.
No, that was telling a person as to why I could not return their call. And I always say on the radio, because explaining what the hell we're doing here would make me it would just make me sound worse than we all know.
It would, first of all, it'd be incredibly futile because you still have no idea what we're doing here.
No.
Speaking of having no idea what we're going to do, what the hell are we going to do at linebacker?
Whoo! Isn't this on like a YouTube page or something? Or live on the Talking Tuscaloosa show on YouTube?
I will retweet it as soon as you tweet it. But anyway, Jimmy, we're screwed at linebacker. Say yes.
We are screwed at linebacker. We really are. Think about this. Let's say that our 4 starting linebackers right now were Terrell Lewis, Christian Miller, Sean Dion Hamilton, and Mack Wilson. They are 4 not only fantastic football players and future pro football players, they're 4 potential all-conference linebackers. Really, all 4 of them. Sean Dion, Mack. I mean, if they were our full-time starters, never leave the field guys. So we're down not just 4 starting linebackers, Luke. We're down 4 all-SEC linebackers. Who in the holy hell can replace that? Nobody.
No. Okay. Nobody can, and I'm with you on that. Let me give another side of this. Let me try and paint a rosy picture here. That's going to be difficult. First of all, you say who can do this, and I'm going to say nobody. And I'm going to say nobody, but with a caveat. Nobody in usual seasons. This season has proven to me there's no badass dominant team. Not in the conference, not in the country. If Iowa can beat Ohio State 55-24, then anything can happen. And if anything is going to happen, I want to be the team that has anything coached by Nick Saban. So I feel good about that. I also feel good about when you say things like, oh my God, what are we going to do if we match up with Clemson in the playoffs and they've got a running quarterback and they've got they got that Travis Etienne and they've got Tevion Feaster and they've got some pretty good receivers. We're really going to need the inside linebacker help. I'm going to say to you, hey, Syracuse did okay defending them. No, they didn't stop them completely, but they did okay. And I understand Clemson had a bad game. They lost their quarterback. Point being that I'd be willing to bet our 4 backups who take the place of the 4 guys we lost are better than Clemson's 4 starters right now.
Well, for instance, 2 of the guys that are starting for us right now are players that would be starting or guys we'd be calling first-team players, even if Terrell, Christian, Mack, and Sean Dion were still around. Anthony Jennings and Rashaan Evans would still be playing. We have 2 frontline guys that I don't want to trade out. So we got 2. The problem is the other 2 spots, probably mostly manned by Keith Holcomb and Jamie Mosley. I don't think going into the season, Luke, that we included Holcomb and Mosley as reasons that Alabama is going to win a 17th national championship. Nothing against those 2 kids, but they are a step back from Mack, Sean Dion, Christian, and Terrell. And but they got a heck of an opportunity here. Let's see if they can fend off the talented freshmen, Dylan Moses, Vandarius Cowan, even Chris Allen. I think those guys are going to play quite a bit down the stretch, and we need them. We need that talent. We need the talent. I think Jamie and Keith, they know what to do. They know where to be. They know how to play those spots, but probably just not as gifted as Dylan Moses and Vandarius Cowan and Chris Allen. So it'll be an interesting mix to me. How are we going to mix in the experienced veterans I'd probably include Josh McMillan in there because he plays some with the true freshman talent at linebacker, and I think that's just sort of the question going forward.
Yeah, and it's definitely a question. There definitely
No, we never did. We just
What?
jumped right into this, and we never did.
Oh, I didn't even do the intro.
And it's cool that we didn't because I think the show's better this way.
No, I totally disagree. I think I've done this intro every time for however many episodes we've done this, so I'm going to do it right now.
Oh, do it now, but I'm totally into the linebacker discussion.
Me too. But hey, everybody, and welcome into Talking Tuscaloosa. Luke Robinson along with Jimmy Stein. As always, Jimmy, how are you today?
I'm just as good as I was 7 minutes ago.
I don't give a shit. Tell me about the linebackers. Tell me about the linebackers.
We're still on those linebackers. Well, let me just tell you that I think the most interesting thing to me is how are we going to combo out the experienced veterans, Mosley, Holcomb, Josh McMillan? How many snaps are they going to get versus the true freshmen, Dylan Moses, Vandarius Cow, and Chris Allen? Also not going to be surprised in game 10 that we're seeing Markel Benton for the first time. That wouldn't surprise me. I'm not expecting it or not expecting it. I'm just saying I'm not sure. Certainly not going to be surprised. By the way, last I heard from inside the program, they were actually thinking Benton's really good. So in that sense, I'm not going to be surprised to see Markel Benton, who is an inside linebacker type. Nick said today in his press conference, one of the guys that has been playing outside is going to move back inside. My guess is he's referring to Josh McMillan, who has sort of been playing outside a little bit when our numbers were questionable there. But, man, Mississippi State and Mercer, I don't think it's a huge issue, but this is a damn big issue when we're talking about Auburn and Georgia, Luke. That's why I think this week we might see a lot of the veterans. We might see a lot of Jamie Mosley and Keith Holcomb and Josh McMillan this week. But then Mercer, Auburn, Georgia, more Dylan Moses and Vandarius Cowan. That's a guess. Nick doesn't ask me, though he should.
There's no question he should. But yeah, and I think you're right. Having said all that, I'm fine with. There might be somebody listening that says, "Why in the hell would we burn Markel Benton's red shirt at this point?" See, this is not burning a red shirt at this point. This is not Butch Jones putting in a true freshman burning his red shirt for 3 snaps or whatever he did, 3 series maybe at the end of the game the other day against Southern Miss. This is Alabama's trying to win a championship.
Exactly.
Tennessee's trying to get to Birmingham. So if I were Butch Jones, I wouldn't have done that unless it was just a big screw you to the administration who's probably about to fire him. Then yeah, I get it then. But Nick Saban is going to burn red shirts. If he thinks one player can help for one play and win us a national championship, he's going to burn that red shirt. And guess what? This daddy's all for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and normally I'm on the other side, and normally I'm like, gosh, let's not burn a whole year on this guy. What? No. We're in the thick of the national championship race. I would play a true freshman in the dang fourth quarter of the national championship game if it meant winning the game, because the point of the program is to win championships. It's not to nurture each individual for the most fulfilling 5-year career as possible. I mean, obviously you want to achieve some level of balance there, but winning championships is the goal. And I'll bet you that Markel Benton, if you asked him this week, hey, we're blowing a whole year of eligibility for you here, but do you want to play against Mississippi State? I'm pretty sure his answer is going to be, oh, hell to the yeah, I want to play.
Yeah, and he's not going to be like, nah, fam. You know what? I'm really looking forward to that 2021 season. Yeah. That's not what he's going to say.
This is all about me, Coach.
But okay, let's talk a little bit more about the game in general. First of all, speaking of linebackers, a guy I would have loved Alabama to have. Yeah, the LSU game. What did I say?
Did I say LSU? Sure that's what you want to talk? Okay. No, you didn't say LSU. You just said the game, and I want to be sure we're talking about LSU, because if all of a sudden I was expected to remember what the hell happened in the Arkansas game, I don't know. I think we won.
Well, so Devin White, first of all, certified badass. I like Devin White a lot. I wish he were at Alabama. He should have come to Alabama, but he didn't.
Everybody recruited him to play running back. Everybody recruited him to play running back, but it's one of those things where we all knew he was a linebacker. Yeah. Even LSU knew he was a linebacker, and sometimes you just got to tell them what they want to hear. Like, oh yeah, you can play quarterback. You can call the plays if you want to. And then they show up and they're like, "You're a nose guard."
Yeah, I'm going to give LSU a shout out very quickly though. I really thought that having the extra week to prepare with Ed Orgeron as your coach was a bad thing for them. And look, maybe even to a fault, he has taken this game very, very seriously. He thinks this is the game. The rest of it is all icing. And that's probably why they lost to Troy. That's probably why they will continue to lose some games they shouldn't lose in the years going forward under his watch. But every year they're gonna bar fight us. And you can say, well, they've done that in the past. They have kind of. I mean, under Miles, I would say lots of times in the fourth, you could feel like Alabama's got this thing under control. I'm going to tell you, I was kind of worried in the fourth, even though we were up 2 scores. I was like, this has the feel of somebody screwing up an assignment and they're getting a cheap touchdown. Then maybe we have they have a scoop and score or a punt return like they did against Auburn. I was not. I'm not going to say I was under the couch, but I was a little worried that something like that could happen. And I'm going to give Orgeron a lot of credit. I'm also going to say that his stare down of the reporter after the post game was just incredible. I love that. Was so Ed Orgeron, and please stay at LSU forever for a multitude of reasons, but one being that you have a personality, and I love seeing it on display. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah, the death stare.
Yeah, he stared. It really was. I was intimidated by him. I would personally, watching it through YouTube.
That's how he kills alligators down the swamp.
Do you think that's how he gets a discount at like Popeyes? They're like,
he doesn't need no.
They're like, sir, you ordered a 3-piece. We're charging you for a 3-piece, and he just stares at him. They're like, it's a 2-piece. Go ahead.
I just think he doesn't use no hook or bang stick.
Mm-mm.
Those gators just pop up near the boat. He stares at them. They just flop over, belly up. And he puts them in the boat, and into the gumbo they go.
I don't think he eats alligators that way. I think he picks them up by the tail and puts them in his mouth and then brings it back out. There's nothing but bones, like the way the cartoon characters eat fish.
He eats gators like we eat pizza rolls.
Just folds them up. It's great. But so anyway, I do want to give LSU a shout out. And look, I know Danny Etling has taken some shit on Twitter from his fan. He didn't play poorly. He didn't play very bad.
I don't know where this thing comes from. I mean, there's so many levels of great and so many levels of good and so many levels of bad. And there's this perception that Danny Etling is horrible. Look, he's not great. He's not great.
No.
And I'm not. But he's not nearly as horrible as the perception out there of Danny Etling is. This is a pretty decent college quarterback. So pretty decent. He had a couple of games last year that he was much better than decent, but I think when the level of talent goes up on the defense, he gets a little overwhelmed, and he's never going to be the kind of guy that beats an Alabama, I don't think. But gosh, so few do. But
that's not Danny Etling's fault that Danny Etling's the best quarterback on that roster. And I'll say this though, putting Miles Brennan in late, I thought was not
cruel.
Yeah, it was cruel. It was not the smartest. I mean, it's not fair to Etling and it's not fair to Brennan, because now I thought Brennan had a much better shot of throwing a pick 6 at that point than he did of leading the team from behind by 14 points to a victory. Wow. And also you're telling Danny Etling, look, man, you ain't got it. And he's going to be the guy that's going to take you the rest of the year. And if you follow him, LSU will win out, and they'll go 9-3, and they'll have a nice bowl game. That's not bad, man, under Ed Orgeron.
Oh, that's so true. I think putting in Brennan, it's sort of like a major league. In the major leagues, let's say your number one prospect is a pitcher, and he's 19 years old. He's the best prospect you have in your organization. He's 19. You call him up to the big leagues, and you're not sure when you're going to put him in a game, but you're playing the Houston Astros, world champion Houston Astros, who have already hit 8 home runs against your best major league pitchers, and they're having this monster game. Everybody in the lineup has gone deep, and you're like, you know what? Let's take a look at that kid and put him in there. No. They're gonna. Carlos Correa is gonna hit a ball into the third deck against this 19-year-old, and he's never gonna mentally recover from throwing a ball then watching it get hit that far. And that's what, to me, you put in a true freshman quarterback against Alabama in the fourth quarter. That's not throwing a kid into the deep end. That's throwing a kid to the wolves.
There's only 2 ways you would do that. If you were blowing Alabama out, which nobody has done, or if you were being blown out and you were like, let's just see what he's got in this situation. I think at that point it's fine. But at
if the kid was flirting with your wife.
True.
Yeah. If you caught him on it. If you read like a text and he's sending a text to your wife and he's like, hey, Ms. O, you got it. you got it going on. I'm Miles Brennan. I'm a big time quarterback, and you need a quarterback. And sending texts like that, and then Orgeron's like, "Oh, I'm so putting this kid in the fourth quarter against
Can you
Alabama."
imagine Miles Brennan is like actually on his little Galaxy One or whatever on the sideline, and he's texting her at that moment, and he goes, "Hey, Miles Brennan, get your helmet on, boy. You're going in now."
Exactly. See, that's what we exactly.
Get in the swamp, boy.
We're reporting the news. That's exactly what went down.
This whole made up affair Miles Brennan is having with Biz Orgeron, and we're not even sure that Ed Orgeron is married. We're not 100% sure about that.
I know.
But anyway, Ed Orgeron could eat us both for just discussing this, so that's something else.
Like pizza rolls.
Like pizza rolls, there's no doubt. Let me talk about this game. Is a little reminiscent of the Florida State game to me, where after the Florida State game, I think I came on this podcast. I know I wrote an article in the paper about it, about saying, okay, offense, it's time for you guys to get it on. And
you did.
I even said, I think I went so far as to say it's the Izzy Mandelbaum, it's go time. It's go time. Izzy Mandelbaum called and said, it's go time, and we need you to pick it up. Well, after that, the offense, started racking up points against Ole Miss and Vandy and Arkansas and blah, blah, blah. Little did we know all those teams suck total ass. I mean, they suck like Dracula's vacuum. I mean, let's start thinking about things that suck. What else sucks, Jimmy? An octopus hooker.
That would so suck.
Oh, that would suck. Also, I guess at that point it's more of a hand thing. It's less a.
Hey, I know.
BJ on here. I don't know.
I know I'm calling late, but are there any girls left? Can you send a girl over? All we have left.
This is Hey, this is Hugh Freeze.
Send the octopus.
This is Hugh Freeze. Can you send over 2 octopuses in the garden?
Yeah, I want to have a 16-way.
So I want a 16-way. So you need 16 girls? Nope, just 2 octopi, please.
2 octopuses. 2 octopuses. That's gross. Those things are gross.
Oh, octopi? They're really. Is it octopi?
I did last. They're gross. The last time I went offshore fishing, I was way offshore, and we were using squid.
So there I was getting a tentacle job from this octopus.
Yeah. We were using squid, and I was doing this whole Niles Cranimus thing about how gross the fish were for eating this shit. And I'm like, what self-respecting fish is eating this shit?
Yeah,
it's like, it's so gross.
Well, of course, then you're eating the fish.
True.
So you're eating the shit the fish ate.
I'm like, is there cologne in my bag? I want to spray some of the squid. There's no way that a fish is going to eat this. It's just awful.
Oh, it is.
Meanwhile, Hugh Freeze is clearly having sex with it. Clearly. We've broken all sorts of news on this. This has been a very newsy show.
So we've gone all Jacques Cousteau on here. But anyway, going back to what the hell I was talking about, that
no one under 40 knows who that is.
No, they really don't. Who was the crocodile hunter's daughter? Bindi?
That's a cool name.
Bindi
Irwin. That's right.
Yeah. No, it's really not a cool name. Let me tell you what I'm not naming my daughter. Bindi.
Really? I sort of like it.
I don't want her to have the nickname Bindi. or regular name Bindi.
Fair. I think it's cute.
And I don't give a shit if you spell it with an I. I don't care if it's the I in the middle or the I on the end. I don't care what you do. Anyway, look.
Can you name another Bindi?
No, I cannot.
Yeah,
and there's a reason.
Only one I know. Maybe that's a big thing in Australia. Maybe Nicole Kidman has 7 nieces all named Bindi.
I'm not going to name her. Kidman. I'm not going to name her Give a Hummer either. I mean, I'm not going to name her Bindi or
Give a
mattress cover. Nothing. I'm not going to name her anything like that. So okay. So what I was saying was that the offense needs to pick up the slack, and we thought the offense was picking up the slack, but are they really? And they really did another night. Now, again, maybe you can set this aside and say the offense didn't have its best game. We had under 300 total yards. LSU outgained us. We did not have our best game, obviously, and you can say that's the anomaly. That's the exception, not the norm. Okay, then the offense is going to have to kick some ass this weekend, because I'm going to tell you what, if it happens back to back, I'm going to begin to get a little worried. And then if we have 70 against Mercer, everybody will say, "Oh, we're back." No, we're not. Auburn, look,
Right.
we play a better defense, in my opinion, this coming weekend than we did last weekend. Maybe not in terms of NFL talent, but in terms of chemistry, I think it's a better defense.
Statistically, that's a fact.
And then you play Auburn, who is better than both of them.
Better than that.
And then
we play Georgia,
who's better than all of them.
That. That's true. So, the offense has to radically improve in that sense, because every time we've played 3 decent defenses statistically, and I don't know whether you want to use the word decent, good, great, or elite, but LSU right now is the 17th ranked total defense in the country. That to me is really good. And we've played 3 good defense: Florida State, Texas A&M, and LSU, and we scored the mid-20s against all of them. And it's just logic that dictates when we play somebody even better than they are, we'll be lucky to get in the 20s, is what logic says. But every matchup is different. It's all a game of matchup. It's 11 one-on-one battles out there. Sometimes you match up better against even a better opponent because some of your matchups are good. But this is what I think. I think we're going to score. I think we'll score in the 30s against Mississippi State. I know that's a heck of a statement to make, but I think we'll score in the 30s. I'm going to go with, I'll just say 31, but I think 31 is pretty good when you're playing a top 10 defense on the road. And people hear Mississippi State, and they're going to set the bar at what they expect Alabama to do against Mississippi State. I think we need to recall or remember that Mississippi State, I think, is 7th or 8th in total defense. This is a good group coached by Nick Saban disciple and Todd Grantham. They have very good talent as always. They're starting 11 on defense. You're talking about 11 good athletes over there, man. And but I think we score 31. I do 31. And last week I almost nailed the score.
You
almost.
Now you cheated because you said it'd be 20. I think you said 27.
I said 27.
And then you said we'd score late to make it 34-10. Is what you said.
Yeah, and if we hadn't taken a knee, I'd have been right on the 31.
Well, I mean, that's great.
We did take a knee at the 5.
Well, first of all, that's a bullshit way to make a prediction. All right, I think we're going to win by 6. But then they score again, and then we score again, and we win by 3.
It's not so much of a prediction. It's kind of like the National Hurricane Center that comes out with the prediction before hurricane season starts, and they keep revising the prediction as the season moves along. And at some point, you're like, that's not a prediction. They're counting the storms as they happen.
That's right.
They're counting the storms as they happen. When you have the 7th storm and you come on and say, I'm predicting at least 7 storms. Well, no shit. But that's sort of what I do with the scores, by the way.
I'm trying to do a segue here. Speaking of predictions, I predict Damian "By God" Harris gets more touches than he did this last game. What the hell was up with that?
You think he got caught texting Saban's wife?
Texting Orgeron's wife.
She gets around.
You said that shit. Jimmy Stein, Coco.
That's my explanation.
Lovely woman.
That's my explanation. Is he married?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Damian Harris only got 9 carries?
Yeah, that's criminal.
Do you have a more logical explanation than the theory I just floated out?
I really do not.
Okay, there you have it. I think.
No, but I will say this: I can't figure out if I don't like Brian Daboll or if he is trying his best to still find his way. And the season, the way our schedule is broken down, meaning it hadn't been as hard as we thought, it has allowed him to try some different things to see what works well. And some of these things work so well. They would have worked well no matter what we did against Ole Miss or Vandy would have worked well. And when we place a little bit tougher opponent like Arkansas, we beat the shit out of them, but they didn't just lay down. They didn't lay down. And Tennessee didn't necessarily lay down either. And LSU damn sure didn't lay down. LSU fought us to the bitter end. We're just a lot better than they are. So what I'm worried about is you play a Mississippi State squad. I think we'll beat Mississippi State. I'm not worried about it. But you play an Auburn squad that they're going to be jacked up, man. This is what Auburn lives for, is a kind of game like we're about to bring to them, where a number 1 team comes in there and they get a chance to upset them. I mean, I've seen them do it to Steve Spurrier multiple times when he had great Florida teams. I've seen him do it to us in 2013. So I'm just saying it's time to use our weapons efficiently. Now, some things that were not his fault, the drop passes by the freshmen, I'm kind of like hey, Brian Daboll, that's on me because I've been telling you this whole year, throw to the freshman more, forget Robert Foster, and he threw to the freshman, and all of them had drops.
Let's put that on you. I agree with you. That's your fault.
That one's on me.
Well, I guess the freshmen are going to act like freshmen here and there. There were 3 or 4 drops. You know, a couple of things. Here's what's kind of a weird dichotomy to me about this game is we only scored 24. But let me bring up just 2 or 3 snaps. We took a knee at the 5 at the end. We could have scored there. That's 31. We threw a deep pass to Calvin Ridley. He got inside the 5-yard line for 1st and goal at the 5. Got called back because of a hold. There were 4 dropped passes in the game. There were a couple of pass interference calls that could have made first downs for Alabama and extended drives that were not called. So for a game that we only scored 24, we had some sort of bad luck there, kind of keeping us out of the mid to high 30s. Now, that said, we did not have statistically the output in terms of rushing yardage and even passing yardage that indicates that we should have scored in the mid to late 30s. We scored about what we should have scored based on what the yardage was. So I'm not sure if we played average or just had some bad luck there, but there were some points that we kind of earned that we just screwed up, frankly. So I'm not quite as down on the offense as some are, but I admit we do have some issues, and I don't point to a specific thing as much as I point to all of it. Jalen still has to be better. He still has to progress. The backs still have to make something when the play isn't there. The offensive line has got to get better. Everyone's got to block better, including the wide receivers. No more drop balls out there. And maybe some better play calling to take advantage of what we do well and minimize what we don't do well. And I think all of that has to happen for Alabama to have success against these upcoming opponents, because it's only getting tougher from here. Again, Mercer aside, Mississippi State and Auburn and Georgia are all the best defenses we've played all year. So we better get better, or a big fat L is heading our way.
No, I agree. And I think the irony is we can take an L and still get in if it's the right L. If Auburn loses to Georgia, we can take an L to Auburn. I don't want to. I don't want to. And we can take an L to Mississippi State as long as we beat Auburn. I believe that. But I think we all have a goal of being undefeated this year. This is a great year to try and go undefeated, even with a lesser team. I think at the beginning of the season, there were people saying, is this Saban's best team ever? Clearly, it's not. Clearly.
We never. I don't.
No, you and I never said that, but there was talk of it. There was
people said that. The people.
In fact, I would make a point. I would say the 2008 team would beat this team. Then that team didn't win an SEC title, right? I would say the 2010 team would beat this team. In fact, this may be, of all Saban's teams since 2008. I don't even want to say it because it sounds like I'm cutting them down. If you ranked them all, this may be the bottom of the list because of
it might be closer to the bottom. I'd say it's closer to the bottom than the top.
If you factor in the injuries, I don't think there's any doubt about it. But having said all that, it's still a damn good team. And this year, there's no Deshaun Watson out there that's scaring the hell out of me. I guess Baker Mayfield's the closest thing, but they have no defense.
It's a bit of a rant, but I think we've fallen into this trap, Luke, where we're not comparing Alabama to the other teams and the teams we're playing. We just sit around comparing Alabama to previous Alabama teams. That's what we do, and it's so irrelevant because we don't have to beat the 2012 Alabama team to win the national championship. To win the national championship this year, we got to beat Mississippi State and then Auburn and then Georgia and then maybe Oklahoma and then maybe Clemson or something. But we don't have to beat the 2012 Alabama team. We don't even play them. It's sort of silly. But that's the standard that we seem to do. And here's another thing we do. We win a game, and I don't care if it's against LSU that just happened, or Arkansas a few weeks back, or Tennessee, or Vanderbilt, or Fresno, or whatever. We win, and then we fret that performance would lose to a future hypothetical opponent. What the hell does that mean? What are we doing? But we've done that. We're like, yeah, we won 66-3, but that shit's not going to get it done against Clemson or whoever.
Right.
And that's just stupid. And now, again, I'm not saying that this team's not flawed. We don't have issues. I'm just saying, Saban has made us all crazy. We're all crazy. Literally, we're crazy.
Listen, do you know how crazy and cocky we are? Did you see the video of the woman who was smoking in Bryant-Denny Stadium? Did you see that?
I wanted them to tase her.
Oh my God! I've never disliked an older woman as much as I dislike that older woman. She put the cigarette up like in his face, like, I dare you to take this cigarette from you. He was like, I got an idea. I'm just going to drag you out of here so badly that United Airlines is going to call and say, you should not drag people that way. But I thought she deserved every bit of it.
If you blatantly, you can't do that in a stadium surrounded by people who don't want to smell. It's just so rude, doesn't even begin. And for her to get indignant about how rude she was being, freaking bring out the taser, man. The taser, the baton.
And she screamed like some kind of, Japanese goldfish I've never heard of. Like the way I would imagine one of those koi would sound if you stabbed it in at the restaurant. What's the name of it? Kobe. No, it's not there anymore. It was in Birmingham. It's not there anymore. But if you stabbed it, that's how I would imagine. There was an episode of The Simpsons. This always comes back to The Simpsons, where there was like a special kind of lizard or gecko or salamander, and it was like a screaming salamander. And there was only like 2 of them left in the world, and one of them ended up on The Simpsons lawn, of course. Otherwise, it would be a terrible show. And he just screamed, and like the Environmental Protection Agency would not let the Simpsons kill it, even though it kept him up at night and was just a big pain in the ass. And so that's how that woman was screaming. Like the EPA should have stepped in and said, "You can't kill this woman."
She's a reason not to go to the games. Who would fault people sitting around going, "Why am I not at home on my comfortable couch and recliner and having to put up with this shit?"
Not smelling like Marlboro menthols. And she, if I've got 4 kids, I've got a lot of kids. I take up a section. Yeah. And if that woman somehow ended up in my section blowing smoke in my kid's face, I'd be pissed. And she's lucky to me that somebody at an Alabama game, and where we have seen people at the Sugar Bowl go head first over rows of people. She's lucky somebody didn't go head first right onto her houndstooth jacket.
Yeah, I didn't like her much. I didn't like her.
I mean, I cannot believe she hadn't been interviewed yet. Like I've been waiting for her side. I'm all for now. Like, okay, let's hear both sides of the story. She can't have a good side of the story.
There is no good side of that story.
Unless that cigarette somehow prevents cancer. Like, there's no good side to her story. Unless it's like a reverse cigarette.
Yeah, I don't see anybody could possibly defend her.
Oh, it makes me so mad. It makes me so mad. It makes me so mad.
I got mad too. I mean, to me, I wasn't even really that entertained by it as much as like, just someone remove this. Some enterprising person in the athletic department. Let's identify her and ban her.
Please! I don't want her back at a game.
Yep.
I don't want her back. Let's start a petition.
Or Tuscaloosa.
I don't want her back in Tuscaloosa. Get out of our country. Let's build a wall around her. That'd be a lot cheaper and quicker. And you know what? And the room she will then be in, which will just be a big wall, no smoking signs.
We'll make Alabama great again.
Okay. Anything else from the game you want to bring up?
Let's just not let the Nick Saban era turn us into a bunch of whiny assholes of we didn't beat LSU bad enough. Good God. I mean,
I'm with you.
Let's just not be those people, and let's enjoy the wins and enjoy the fact we are a win over Mississippi State and Mercer away from being in the thick of the national championship race for the 9th time in the past 10 years on Thanksgiving Day. That's just, why don't we enjoy it instead of complaining that our SEC Player of the Year quarterback isn't good enough, or that scoring in the mid-20s against good defenses is a pathetic offense. Let's just enjoy this a little more, is what I'd say. I'm enjoying it.
Were you at the game?
Oh heck yeah! I was there
Okay.
I was there smoking away.
Smoking your ass. You used her as like, you're like, man, glad I saw
I
that.
just
So I can
started.
put my cigarette out.
47 years old. I just started because I got so excited watching that video. I'm like, man, I must be missing out. There must be something good to the smoking thing. So
You,
I hear all good things. So I just started Saturday.
my guess is you were more of a vape guy. You seem like a vapor. But was the crowd into it? Okay, I watched it on TV, obviously, and I kept thinking it doesn't feel electric. Like I wanted it to feel electric, and it doesn't feel electric.
Maybe because there was no point in the game, despite the fact that we didn't play our best, despite the fact it wasn't our best performance of the year, there was no point in the game where I looked at the scoreboard and went, oh shit, this might be the week we don't get this done. There was never a point in the game like that for me, and maybe that's what sort of muted the intensity level, but I wouldn't necessarily say it wasn't a good atmosphere. I think it was a good atmosphere. They do a pretty good job in the stadium with everything except what they put on the Jumbotron, and I bitch more every year because each year I get blinder and blinder, and I need more help from the Jumbotron, and there's a big play about to happen, and instead of showing me what's happening on the field, they're reminding me to get loud as if I didn't know that was the thing, and I'm like, you know, I'd very much prefer to watch the play than be told to get loud. But whatever. I think it was a good atmosphere. I think it was pretty loud, but it wasn't as loud as it could be or should be. And I think, again, it was because there was never a point in the game where I was like, uh-oh, we're going to lose. You know, I was more worried at the end of A&M in terms of like,
really?
And not worried in the sense that, I mean, A&M was onside kicking away from having a possession to tie it at the end, and we just given up a long score, so a score and drive. So I wasn't necessarily worried against A&M, but there was never a point in the LSU game where I thought we were going to lose the game. Never.
Okay. I don't know. I kind of was more worried about LSU than I was. Maybe it's just because it just happened.
At what point in the game?
But at the very end, I was worried some crazy shit was going to go down. I really was. I really was. I was worried that there had been so many things like the hold you talked about that cost us a big gain.
Had you been indignantly smoking, something would have went down. If you were smoking and indignant about it, some shit would have went down for sure.
You wouldn't need the cops. My wife would beat my ass if I'd just been in my house smoking a cigarette. The first time I'd ever smoked a cigarette outside of one time in 7th grade when I about puked my spleen up. I hadn't smoked since. I don't like it. I don't understand why people do it. It makes no sense to me, except for the fact that in general, you look cool. I'm cool with saying that when you smoke, if you do it right, you look cool. This woman did not look cool because she looks like she's probably a grandmother. And one of my sayings is grandmothers shouldn't smoke. Like, you're supposed to take advice from grandmothers. They shouldn't be smoking. So, yeah, if you're a grandmother and you smoke, so be it. Do your thing. I'm not going to have a cop come arrest you as long as you're not at Bryant Denny Stadium.
Good. I think as a policy, that's fine. What's going on in recruiting? You know?
We
didn't get any. Did we get commitment? I thought
not a commitment.
I thought Nadab Joseph. I thought Nadab Joseph.
You predicted 2 commitments, by the way.
I thought Nadab Joseph would Savion Smith. I thought that was a great weekend for him to commit. Alabama playing his former team, but I still expect to get those guys. Savion Smith, Nadab Joseph, J.J. Peterson, Iyabi Anoma. Let's go Caleb Tremblay.
Any of those.
Andres Fox. I got a lot to say about him. He's one of my local kids. And I should say Andres Fox. His real name. And here's a new thing. Here's a new thing about names. And it's a great. And one of my favorite things about recruiting is there's so many great names out there that are fun and man, kids sound like ballers but there's this new thing. It seems to me there's more frequently of a way to pronounce names, but the letters aren't there. Like for instance, how would you? Do you know I'm talking about the kid at Mobile Christian who plays for Ronnie Cottrell?
Yeah, Andres Fox. Yeah, I know him. Yeah, I saw him in the state championship game last year.
How do you pronounce his name?
I say Andre Fox.
It's spelled Andres.
Yes, I know. But a lot of times I've seen Andre before where they have an S and then you don't say it.
Yeah, they pronounce it Andreas.
Oh, Andreas? Okay.
It blows me away. There's no A there. Shouldn't there be an A?
Yeah, but man, You can't.
We're getting close. I'm afraid we're getting to
It's
the
like
point.
Bendy with two eyes. You don't know what the hell's going on.
I think we're getting close to where some recruit named Fred. We're going to be calling him
with
Fred.
3 J's.
Well, no, he's going to say no. That's pronounced Bill. I'm like, it says Fred, F-R-E-D. No. It's. I know it says F-R-E-D, but it's Bill.
Speaking of that, one time Montgomery Burns on The Simpsons, he was talking about there was something that happened with what was the guy's name? The guy Frank. Oh God, why am I remembering his name? Frank. I'm going to call him Frank Smith. And Mr. Montgomery Burns says, "You don't think Frank Smith is related to this Simpson fellow, do you?" And Waylon Smithers goes, "Well, no, they spell and pronounce their names differently, so I don't think so."
They spell and pronounce their names differently, so no.
Yeah,
but
man.
Andreas Fox might be coming to Alabama. I've seen him play in person a time or two. Real intrigued by him because he's.
You like his body? I mean, I'm not saying that in a weird way.
Well,
but
you just said that in a weird way. You did say it in a weird way.
I did. My eyebrows kind of moved.
No,
I didn't even know my eyebrows did that. I'm doing it again.
It's funny that you remember I said something about his body because he has an extremely unique body. And it's like this is just me. I could be sore, but it's like his upper torso looks like a linebacker and his bottom torso looks like a defensive tackle. And you're like, is this guy going to play in college at 240 or 300?
Let me tell you what that is. To Nick Saban, that is porn. He might as well have just unfolded a magazine, like one of those 3-way things, and like on the back is like it's spelled Andre, but I pronounce it Andreas. And I'm
saying in high school, this kid's a linebacker, and he's an outside rusher. That's what he is today. He's an outside rusher. But it's my understanding from the way colleges talk about him is his upside, what everyone's excited about for him is an interior defensive tackle.
Good. Good.
Yeah, agreed. But hey, this kid is 235 right now or 240. He's 60 pounds from that. 2, he's going to be doing something. He's going to be asked to do something when he plays that position that he has no experience at all doing so far in his athletic life, where he is an outside speed rusher in high school. I'm just saying, I like the athleticism. I like the upside, but man, it's a heck of a projection for me there. I'm like, we're projecting a lot here about size, how he's going to mix it up inside, how he's going to be an interior player. I don't know, but productive. Great kid, by the way. Everybody likes this guy. Great kid. I've heard him interviewed on the radio a few times. Well coached. They got a great staff over there at Mobile Christian. Ronnie Cottrell's the head coach. Roosevelt Patterson, former
They've lost a couple of games here lately. That's
they were starting
me,
like 7-0, and then they lost 3 in a row. I have a hard time explaining. Yeah. They have a few good players over there. They've got a pretty good team.
Their running back last year went to Arizona.
He did. Troy Young, and he plays.
Yeah,
and I liked him the whole time. I'm looking at Troy Young. I'm like, now, boy, talk about a guy that looked like a player. I look at Troy Young. You look at him and you're like, where are all the SEC offers? Now, I think athletically, he's a bit of a reach, but he's playing at Arizona, who's good. By the way, next year, Arizona will be an in vogue pick to win the Pac-12, and Troy Young will be a starting sophomore safety there. So maybe that's somebody the SEC really slept on. But I'll tell you, they got a good safety over there now, Keith Gallman. I think he's a Division I guy. The quarterback's a junior. They got a wide receiver who's named Polnitz, who I think is a guy that's going to play Division I. So pretty good program that Ronnie Cottrell's got there. And I think they're a major contender to win 3A, even though they've hit this little skid where they lost a couple games. But Andreas Fox probably headed to Alabama now. I would not have predicted that 2 months ago. But I think it's a combination of two things, his progression as a prospect and the way Alabama's board has fallen.
No, I agree with you. And for those who don't know, Greg Byrne spoke to a group of us back in the summer, and because I asked him specifically about the Duke game Alabama's going to play in Atlanta in 2019, and he mentioned that was supposed to be Alabama and Arizona in Atlanta, and somehow that fell through. I don't know what happened, but somehow that fell through, and so Duke comes on board, and that's the non-conference Atlanta Mercedes Dome game. That kind of sucks. I mean, but if at least if their current coaching staff stays there, then it won't be horrible. But, typical Duke Alabama matchups aren't very good. But it would have been cooler if Alabama were playing Arizona, I'd say. I mean, especially if Rich Rod were still there. Can you imagine Rich Rod against Nick Saban? That would be, that'd be a hell of a matchup. Why the hell would they want Arizona, though, to come all the way from the West Coast when they will bring nobody? I mean, I was at the Alabama-Washington game. Washington did not bring a crowd, and that was for a college football playoff. So Arizona's not going to bring a crowd, but I thought the game would have been cooler.
Well, throw in the fact that in 2019, assuming good health, they probably go into 2019 with the Heisman frontrunner, and Khalil Tate will be a junior.
If he's not
going
gone.
into 29. Well, he'll be a junior. So yeah, he's a freshman.
Whoa. He's not a true freshman, though, is he?
He's a true freshman.
I thought he's a redshirt. He's a true freshman?
I think he's a true freshman.
I want to look that up.
So. Didn't even start the first 4 games.
No, I knew that. I mean, that's what, and I hate it. Everybody's like, well, why didn't he see this before? Well, he's a true freshman, man.
Yeah, that's true. I've just I watched. I've seen Khalil Tate a few times now, mostly clips and highlights. I don't think I've seen a whole game, but man, what a talent! Reminds me a lot of Patrick White, who is from my area and who Rich Rod coach of West Virginia. Hey, I got to blow this popsicle stand.
Boy, well, gross. Okay.
Boy, that didn't sound right. That didn't sound right.
Now, hang on really quickly before we leave. I want to be sure that Khalil Tate is he's from Gardena, California, or Gardena. I don't know if it's Gardena or Gardenia, but there's no I in there, so I guess it's Gardena. He is
pronounced Andreas.
It is pronounced Andreas. Wait a minute. In 2016, Khalil Tate, it says now on Yahoo, this is screwed up. It says he played 7 games in 2016. Did he?
That can't be right. I mean,
he says he even started one in 2016.
We looking at the same Khalil Tate?
Yeah.
Is that in high school?
It says he's a sophomore, number 14. He's a sophomore. I'm just telling you. So he's not a true freshman, but whatever, what the hell ever. Okay, prediction real quick on Mississippi State.
31-14.
I'm gonna go 38-17.
And is it because of the injuries at linebacker?
Yes, and they score late.
Here's something that makes me feel a little bit better about this game. And so easy for us to panic and worry. We beat this team last year, quarterback by the same kid, 51-3.
Yes.
Jalen also played one of his best games of the year against these guys. I know it's last. Well, I'm saying, are we going to go from 51-3 to being lucky to pull it out? I mean,
yeah, a lot of things have changed, though, man. I mean, and we're not. We're
the world's a different place.
Did we play them last year at 11 o'clock? I think we did.
Was it 11? I know
it was early.
Daytime. Gosh dang it, we're playing Mercer at 11.
I know that sucks, but I can tell you right now,
there will be lots of fans disguised as empty seats in that.
Saban is going to be pissed.
Playing Mercer at 11 o'clock. There'll be like 7 students there.
I know. All right. Oh, and I would think right before Thanksgiving weekend too, when most everybody's already bugged out, But anyway, all right. You've got to go blow a popsicle stand. You said.
I do.
I hope it's not crowded. So anyway,
it's my pet octopus's name.
Okay.
It's my it's my safe word. Popsicle stand. Popsicle stand.
Roll Tide, everybody.
Roll Tide.
All right, buddy. I'll see you.
See you, man.
Bye.